Trust in the system starts to crumble when those entrusted with upholding the law use their power to further their own interests. Hidden cameras, illicit deals, and conduct nobody expected reveal the true cost of corruption. However, when the tables turn and those responsible are exposed, one question remains: how far can the truth survive in a system filled with lies? Videos and documents ended up proving the corruption of highway patrol officers from São Paulo in Brazil in recordings that made waves across the media and, of course, sparked a huge discussion on the internet about how corrupt the police we deal with on a daily basis could be. Security camera footage showed 3 military police officers stealing a firearm from a man during an approach. However, the incident was not recorded, and the suspect was not detained, which raised some suspicions. The group also tampered with the patrol car's license plate to extort money from local business owners. This was all part of an illegal practice by the officers who, upon noticing something illegal among merchants in the area, like the one who had the firearm without a legal permit, chose not to file a report or make any arrests. Instead, they would demand a sum of money from them. The situation became increasingly obvious and frequent until, thanks to the camera footage and seized documents, the corrupt officers were discovered. According to the victims' accounts, this practice was quite common and ongoing among the police in that region. Naturally, nobody had the courage to file a complaint or speak out. All were relieved of duty and arrested. A crew from the Brazilian television system exclusively caught the moment when civil police officers were seen talking and negotiating a bribe with the driver of a truck whose tires were worn out. Undercover, the reporter obtained information and followed in real time the moment when the officers pulled their patrol vehicle right next to the parked truck to negotiate a sum of money so the truck would not be impounded. Because the driver was not the owner of the vehicle and merely worked with it, he called the owner and handed the phone over to the officers, who negotiated the extortion by phone. Besides the worn tires, the driver also did not have a national driver's license. The truck's owner then arrived and negotiated the amount in person, handing it to the officer who was wearing a black jacket in disguise. He took the money, thanked him, and drove away. According to the vehicle owner himself, the final agreed-upon sum was $500. He also mentioned there was a time when he paid the officers in installments, and they would swing by on the scheduled date to collect the payment. The images and the news report went viral, and according to the information from that time, everything would be investigated and the officers suspended. An officer from Boynton Beach, Florida, was caught on camera during an investigation at the exact moment he offered $20 for sexual favors. He had no idea everything was being set up so that he would be caught in the act, and that is exactly what happened. After meeting with a woman and offering money in exchange for the encounter, everything was recorded. He was dismissed from the force, in addition to being taken into custody to give a statement. The local sheriff had already been investigating everything in an undercover capacity and was there to catch the corrupt officer who was taking advantage of his uniform to do things he should not. According to the sheriff, the investigation had been going on for quite some time, following multiple complaints. He also expressed deep sadness to see someone who was supposed to fight crime behaving in such a way and tarnishing the profession's reputation. Footage that recently circulated on social media shows a military police vehicle from the federal district in Brazil at the garage of a motel in Brasilia, and of course the case sparked huge repercussions. After all, instead of being on duty, the officers were reportedly having fun on the premises. The videos were posted by a sex worker who refers to the officers as clients. She filmed one officer standing near the patrol car and displayed the key to one of the motel rooms. She also filmed the patrol car as it pulled into the motel's garage. In the video, the woman, who identifies as transgender, boasts firing off a jibe aimed at her rivals and making it abundantly clear that her clientele was of a different caliber. In this case, the officers who were exposed on the internet. The public prosecutor's office of the federal district said it had learned of the case through the press and would investigate the situation brought to light by the news stories, which showed everything that happened. Further information indicated the officers were identified through the vehicle and suspended pending investigation. Security camera footage from a construction materials warehouse in the year 2011 cast doubt on the actions of 8 officers from Rota, known as the elite squad of the Sao Paulo, Brazil military police, and it was used to revoke the arrest of 4 drug trafficking suspects. The military police officers were filmed mixing a white powder in a drum, which they claimed to be cocaine. Based on the footage, the military police internal affairs department is investigating the quantity of drugs that the Rota officers presented to the civil police, whether they took some of the white powder for themselves, and also the purity of the substance. Of the 19 military police officers who were at the warehouse, 3 were officers. 8 were captured on video mixing the white powder in the drum. They stated the powder was 17.5 kilograms of cocaine. By law, the military police officers were supposed to preserve both the location and the way the white powder was found. In the eyes of the court, the footage raised doubts about the material evidence of the drug trafficking crime for which 4 suspects were accused by the Rota officers. The military police officers told the civil police they had seized the white powder in a suitcase, supposedly belonging to the 4 men they accused of drug trafficking. However, the footage showing them mixing the substance in a drum without justification stirred a great deal of doubt that ultimately led to the removal of all those officers from their duties and prompted a lengthy investigation. A police officer in San Diego in the United States was caught by another officer's body camera at the moment he simply locked himself in the back of the patrol car with a woman and stayed there, shielded by the officer who forgot that his own uniform camera could incriminate them all. An internal investigation into the incident revealed that the officer, identified as Hare, violated several policies and laws through his conduct. Hare's body camera was not on precisely when he was inside the patrol car with the woman, but the audio captures the woman talking about things related to a sexual encounter. After being in the patrol car for about 1 hour, the police supervisor, who apparently was driving the car, opened it and everything was caught on his body camera. Everyone involved was investigated, and Hare was immediately suspended and arrested so his conduct could be reviewed. According to some reports, he did not remain in custody, but was fired from the force. A police body camera in Florida in the United States recorded the moment when an officer, in a complete rage, grabbed his female colleague by the neck right in front of everyone, including the camera. In the footage, it is clear the officer becomes irritated during an arrest, apparently because of the procedure his co-worker was following. Therefore, when she tries to approach to either stop something or talk, he turns around, grabs her by the neck, and threatens her in front of all the other officers, who notice but do not intervene. Naturally, the policewoman involved reported the incident, and the body camera footage confirmed everything.
Do what you gotta do. No.
The officer, identified as Christopher Pugliese, 47 years old, was charged with 4 crimes for this incident, including assault, and not just assault, but assault on a fellow officer. Pugliese was arrested and pleaded not guilty to all 4 charges. However, during his trial, he was found guilty and dismissed. Military police officers from the state of Ceará in Brazil were relieved of duty in 2011 after a video showed 3 of them romancing people in a police vehicle during work hours. The officers were caught by the camera system in the squad car. According to what was published in the internal bulletin of the military police's general command, the footage shows the police officers fondling the breasts of 2 young women, including 1 minor, and talking about sex. The officers even pulled up the top of one woman's blouse and touched her private parts. According to the bulletin, the soldiers were also accused of convincing the women to perform oral sex. They were identified and suspended pending investigation. The acts were caught while they were responding to a call about a lewd act in a public place, involving the 2 young women and a motorcyclist. The officers placed all 3 individuals in the police vehicle, later releasing the man. They drove to an open field in the company of the girls, where they committed these entirely inappropriate acts. Unemployed 20-year-old Douglas Alves de Souza spent 105 days wrongfully imprisoned after being stopped at a roadblock in São Bernardo do Campo in Brazil. The officers claimed there was a brick containing 720 grams of marijuana inside his car. However, footage recorded by an employee of a nearby condominium, located right in front of the roadblock, shows the military police officers themselves placing the drugs in the young man's car, solely to incriminate him for no reason. The images show that after the car was initially searched and nothing was found, Douglas remained at the scene. Then another team arrived, and one of the officers stealthily retrieved a sizable package from the patrol car and took it over to Douglas's car. That second search then took place, resulting in the officers finding the illicit substance in the vehicle. A desperate Douglas insisted it was not his, but the officers arrested him anyway. The employee of the condominium across from the roadblock noticed the situation on camera and decided to release all the evidence. The officers were reportedly relieved of duty for investigation. 4 investigators of the Sao Paulo, Brazil Civil Police were suspended after being caught asking for $1 million in bribes from the owners of a company that was committing financial scams against business owners all over the country. The scam operation was headquartered on the 6th floor of a building in the southern zone of Sao Paulo, in Brazil. 19 female employees worked making fraudulent phone calls. According to the detective in charge of the case, Luiz Alberto Guerra, they convinced their victims to sign a contract that concealed a monthly fee. And in reality, no service would be provided. 4 officers from the fraud division of the Department of Criminal Investigations went to the company's office to look into the scams. Once there, they opted for another route. The investigators demanded a bribe so the company's owners would be off the hook. What they did not realize was that there was a camera in the meeting room that even captured audio of their conversation, so everything was recorded. Present in the room were the company's attorney who had just been summoned and the 4 investigators. One of them got straight to the point and immediately asked for $1 million to bury the case. Suddenly, the officers noticed the camera installed in the room and started wondering if it was recording audio. One of the investigators, who had been silent until then, stood up and pointed the camera toward the window. Even with the bribe negotiations, all were arrested because the head of the investigation team made a call pushing for quick action, effectively spoiling the corrupt officers' attempt to cover things up. However, it was all on tape, and they ended up in trouble. A police officer in Louisville in the United States took advantage of his badge and, let's say, his authority to simply walk into a business and harass one of the employees, identified as Taylor. It is very clear in the footage that the officer enters the establishment and, for no apparent reason, starts to frisk Taylor, tying her hands, getting close to her, kissing her on the cheek, and even fondling the employee who just wanted to work honestly to earn her living. Outraged by the situation, Taylor went to the media, in addition to filing a report, exposing everything in detail using the camera footage as evidence. She mentions that many people asked if she was in a relationship with the officer, but she denies it, highlighting that he was always there, trying something, be it leaving his phone number or a date invitation, yet she always ignored him and never imagined things would go that far. The officer was identified and arrested. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.